So let's continue. So how video games affect the brain. We've gone over this. Now they're going to use a lot of words like visual spatial skills, dorsolateral prefrontal cortex.
I like this one. The cortical ventral basal ganglia circuit.
Right. So they're using a lot of big fancy schmancy words here that are basically talking about the stuff we've talked about, which is the release of dopamine, which is the neurotransmitter associated with pleasure. So we have been for about 2 years now doing these kind of online things with you guys.
Yeah.
And we're always talking about that dopamine release cycle. That is the psychology of video games. Any good developer will learn to utilize that cycle to give the player an internals in their body reward for completion of a puzzle, a goal, etc. That's fine. You're supposed to do that. You're supposed to give your players a feeling of happiness for playing your game. The problem is when it becomes an addiction. Now, it's not always the dev's fault. If the dev creates a game where that dopamine release cycle is something that is, behind paywalls, behind grinding, behind things that are so easily exploitive that your players will become addictive just playing your game, that's on the dev. But if it's a regular game that's just fun to play, and the player starts getting addictive, it's still an issue. It's still the exact same thing. It's that release of dopamine stuff.
Yeah.
That doesn't change. But what I'm trying to say is the game developer isn't responsible for the player getting addicted unless the game developer designed their game to be addictive.
That is a very good statement.
Yeah.
Because so many of these people, especially politicians, want to blame the game.
They do.
They want to blame the game dev in 100% of the cases. And that is not realistic. That's not the truth.
A BG makes the, I'm going to assume, snarky comment, in other words, most AAA games, because it is true that a lot of developers in the industry, a lot of big studios do exploit the dopamine release cycle. They do. But that is not everyone. It has to be taken on a case-by-case basis. But everyone, from the good developers to the bad developers and had to clean up their act, need to understand this. This is a biological process of being a human being. And when it goes out of control, boom, you become an addict.
Yeah.
That's how gambling addicts happen. Very similar. There's a gambling addiction and video game addiction are extremely similar. They both produce the same concept of risk and reward. So, anything on that?
On what you just said?
Or what the chat's saying?
No, but BG does point out that, addiction's addiction. You can be addicted to other things. Yes, he knows people that stay up late hours doing one more episode on Netflix. Addicted to the binge watching.
That is because the truest addiction, like the thing that you are addicted to, isn't necessarily the medium. It's not the video game. It's not the gambling. It's not the Netflix. You're addicted to this. You're addicted to dopamine.
Yes.
You need, for whatever reason, that dopamine rush, that little release of that neurotransmitter in your brainy parts. And so the medium is irrelevant. If it is something that is releasing this and you want more of this and you can't stop doing whatever medium behavior, et cetera, you're doing to get that dopamine fix, that's an addiction.
Yep.
It just so happens that in the context of this forum, we're talking about when video games cause that.
Yeah.
Now, it's good. It's good. It seems like BG caught it. That he was starting to binge watch football.
Yes, American football.
Yeah, American football. So not rugby.
No. It was American football. Yeah. Did it for about 6 weeks, and then, but he realized what he was doing. He realized it and was like, no, I'm stopping. That's it.
We all have behaviors that can borderline on addictive. I have certain YouTube addictive behaviors, and the moment I realize I'm doing it, I stop myself and I walk away. Watching certain types of videos, because it's an addiction. And the moment you get away from it, you're better off.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, it was bowl season. Okay.
Is that what Burke is saying? It was bowl season?
No, that was BG said. But Burke was just making a comment about watching that much football would be the same neurological damage as collisions from the NFL players.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, in any time you lose yourself in something like that, you're not truly addicted if you're able to get out of it.
Well, or it's mild enough that you're able to pull out.
Yeah, it's mild enough that you can pull yourself out of it. But as we're going to see when we move on to another article,
right?
A true addict cannot pull themselves out of it.
Yeah,
they cannot.
Right, once you are full-blown addicted, not becoming addictive, not a little bit addicted, partially mild, whatever word you want to use. Once you're a full-blown addict, you need another person. You need that intervention. And we'll get to that in a second. We're going to go over these risk factors, and then we'll jump on to the next.
Here's the risk factors.
Yeah, so this is important to know. These are risk factors involved with gaming disorder, gaming addiction disorder.
Yeah.
So functional and dysfunctional impulsivity.
Impulsiveness,
yes. So if you are a highly impulsive person, that is an additional risk factor. You want to avoid things that are easily addictive due to that dopamine rush.
Yeah.
Belief in your self-control. That, believe it or not, guys, whether you believing whether you can or cannot do something can affect very deeply whether or not you can or cannot do something.
Yeah.
Anxiety. This is the catch-all killer right here.
Yeah, anxiety.
Yeah. Yeah, anxiety can lead to a number of things, including multiple addictions, not just gaming addictions. Money spent on gaming.
Oh,
The moment you start spending that scratch, you're putting yourself, and I don't mean buying a new video game. I mean compulsively buying stuff within the game.
Yeah.
Using money as a way to increase that dopamine rush. Gaming during the weekday, I don't know if I agree with that. Maybe that's geared more towards school students, children. I don't know. Because, your weekend may be your work week. Who knows? I think
that's just geared towards not just people in school, but, us 9 to 5 people.
Yeah, I think
it's geared towards that.
I think a better way of mentioning this would be something along the lines of gaming when you should be working or going to school.
Yeah.
Offline community meeting attendance. I did not know that was a thing. Apparently, if you're a part of an offline community of gamers, you're at a risk of becoming addicted. I don't think I agree with that.
Offline community meeting attendance.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay. Game community membership.
Well, I guess we're all addicts,
we're all addicts because we all belong to some kind of community.
Everyone in the game development community, we're all addicts. We're addicted to game making.
Working 9 to 5, hit it, Dolly. Thank you, Perk.
Yes, all game makers are addicts, apparently.